Hi everyone, my name is Jenny and today I'm back to do another video. Today I'm going to be doing my Reading Rush TBR. So the Reading Rush, formerly known as the Booktube-a-thon, is one of the biggest readathons that happens here on Booktube. I think pretty much every person I follow, and that's like 200 people here on YouTube, do participate in some way in the Booktube-a-thon / Reading Rush. And I actually participated last year as just kind of a passive viewer of the booktube world and had such a fun time. I ended up reading quite a bit more than I usually do in a week. So I'm excited now that I have an actual channel to kind of participate and try to read even more potentially than I read last year. So this year the Reading Rush is scheduled to take place from Monday, July 20th to Sunday, July 26th. Unfortunately for me, I am scheduled to take the GRE, which is the graduate school standardized test that a lot of graduate programs here in the United States require for admittance to their program, on July 24th. So smack dab in the middle of the Reading Rush. So because of the whole kind of time around the test, i.e. making sure I get a good night's sleep, actually taking the 4-hour plus test, and then the inevitable exhaustion that will follow after the test, I've decided to start my personal Reading Rush on Sunday, July 19th. So that will give me 8 days to kind of account for the likely in total 24 hours lost because of the GRE to read as many books as I possibly can. Because I'm giving myself that extra day though, I am challenging myself to read 7 books over this 8-day period. But again, because I'm taking the GRE, I also am giving myself a way to complete all the challenges having just read 3 of the books. So after I go through each book that I have planned for the challenges, I will kind of stack rank my books to show you how I will accomplish all 7 books, even if I only get 2 or 3 of them. I also wanted to mention that I will definitely be vlogging during the Reading Rush. I will not be daily vlogging, nor do I really ever plan to daily vlog because I don't think I would find that very fun, but I definitely will be doing a week-long vlog, so look out for that at the end of the month. So that all being said, let's just get into the challenges. So the first challenge is to read a book that has your birthstone gem color on the cover. So I was born in February, so my birthstone gem is an amethyst, which is a purpley color. So for that, I've picked Hood Feminism, Notes from the Women That a Movement Forgot, which has this kind of nice purpley, you can see that pretty well, nice purpley color on the cover. And this one I've talked about a couple times on my channel is a nonfiction book about basically intersectional feminism. It's also on my 5-star prediction list, so I will put a link to my 5-star prediction / TBR reduction video up in the cards above. But yeah, really excited to get to this one. Next challenge is to read a book that starts with the word the, and so I've planned for my ebook of the week to be The New Wilderness by Diane Cook. This is an e-arc that I received from the imprint Harper of HarperCollins through NetGalley, so thank you both to the publisher and NetGalley for providing me with this copy. And this one I talked about in my most anticipated releases video, which I also will put in the cards up above, and it's kind of a dystopian, fast-paced, potentially horror. I read somewhere that it's horror, cli-fi, or climate fiction, but I'm not sure if the horror is just like the world's been ravaged by climate change and that's horrific, or if there's more kind of horror elements to it. I am not sure. I'm not a big horror reader, but I'm willing and able to read about the horrors of climate change because, you know, it's real life. But if it's kind of more supernatural stuff, I might not be able to get into this one. We will see. But this one comes out on August 11th, so I'm hoping to read it before then, and this seemed like a great time to do so. Next, the prompt is read a book that inspired a movie that you've already seen. And this one was somewhat challenging because I'm not that big of a movie person, but I recently saw Emma the movie and absolutely loved it. Would highly recommend if you like period pieces, which is really the only kind of movie that I like to watch, is just like Emma and Little Women and other movies like it. But I did not want to read Emma because it's a 400-page classic for this readathon. But then I remembered that I've never read Jenny Han's To All the Boys I Loved Before books, which I am obsessed with the Netflix adaptation. I think it's fantastic, and I have seen the first one many, many times. But for some reason, I just wasn't super into reading the book at this time, especially because I then remembered that a childhood favorite of mine, Elle, Enchanted, also was inspired by a book. So I'm planning on reading Elle Enchanted by Gail, Carson, Levine. I don't think that many people have actually seen this movie, but it is fantastic. I have seen it probably 100 times. It was one of my absolute favorite movies when I was a kid, and I don't think I ever read the book, which is also surprising to me because I think 9-year-old Jenny would have been all over this. I don't know if I just didn't know there was a book, or for maybe I tried to read it and then I got bored. Like, I really don't know, but I don't remember ever reading this book. So I'm going to read it and probably rewatch the movie because I love the movie. And that's that. So yeah, Elle Enchanted. Then the next prompt is read the first book that you touch. And I actually had my little sister help me out with this, and we filmed a clip a couple days ago, so I'll insert that now. And as you just saw, the book that I ended up picking was Big Friendship, How We Keep Each Other Close by Aminatou Sow and Anne Friedman. This one I am super excited about. It is a relatively light nonfiction book about these two women who do the Call Your Girlfriend podcast, which I've not listened to. I'm not a big podcast person either. Books are really the only media that I consume. But they have this podcast, and they are two long-distance friends. I think one's in New York and one's in New York and one's in Los Angeles. But they basically wrote this kind of memoir / almost self-help book about like how to maintain open communication with your friends that are long distance to kind of help to build that relationship and make sure that it stays strong. I have a lot of very close friends who are long distance from me, so I'm super excited about this one and was going to try to implement it into my Reading Rush TBR anyway, so I'm really excited that I randomly picked this one. Moving on, the next prompt is a book from a genre that you want to read more of, and I've decided to go with a short story collection because I've been very much in the mood for some short fiction, and I think short stories will be really good for this readathon. So I'm choosing to read Sleepovers by Ashley Bryant Phillips, which I've talked about many times on my channel. I hope I enjoy it because I talked about it so much. Most recently I talked about it in my mid-year book freakout tag, which I'll put up in the cards above. And yeah, I'm pumped. Has a great cover. The next prompt is a book set on a different continent. As I'm sure most of you know, I am in the United States, so I'm on the North American continent, or the American continent, if you have that perspective in terms of continents and their locations. So the book I'm choosing is set in Asia, and that is A Burning by Majumdar. This is set in India and follows 3 different characters that are all somehow involved or are impacted by a train crash that happens in, I believe, northern India, Calcutta, maybe? I'm not sure if it's in northern India or not. And this one I think I'm actually going to be buddy reading after our failed buddy read of Fates and Furies with Lindsay from Lindsay's Book Club. So I'm really excited about this one as well. And also it's really short and the font is like totally gigantic. So should be a relatively easy one to get through. Finally, we have the prompt read a book completely outside your house, which I believe there's been a little bit of controversy just because with lockdown and everything, a lot of people can't leave their house safely or don't want to necessarily leave their house. Luckily for me, I have a great patio space. I have a park that is right across from my house that is pretty infrequently used by other people, and I actually have a pool that is part of our townhouse complex that we are a relatively small complex. There's not a whole lot of residents here, and so luckily we've been able to open the pool and kind of do social distancing at the pool. So I have been at the pool pretty much all the time, and I'm sure we'll go to the pool frequently during the week of the Reading Rush. So my plan is probably to just read a book out at the pool, which is what my favorite activity is during the summer anyway. But also, since I have a kind of set TBR and I'm more of a mood reader, I've just picked like a small pile of books that will be my potential pool book for the week that I will just quickly kind of go through with you, and then I will tell you whichever one I end up picking during my Reading Rush vlog. So the first one is one that actually one of my best friends gave to me, so I thought it'd be kind of fun to read that one along with Big Friendship, which is What I Know Now, Letters to My Younger Self, which is edited by Ellen Spraggins. And then she actually, so my bestie actually like would underline certain things, and she wrote me some nice letters at the front. So this book means a lot to me, and it actually got put on a bookshelf that I rarely look at, and I almost forgot about it, and I felt so bad. So I really need to read this because I was gifted it back in like October of last year or something and meant to read it right when I got it, and then I put it on this bookshelf and forgot about it. So there's that option. Next we have Half Wild by Robin MacArthur, which is short stories. Next we have Gary Snyder's Danger on Peaks, which is poetry, like 100 pages, great. A recent addition to my book collection is The Wife by Meg Wolitzer. Big Meg Wolitzer fan, and I've not read this one. And then finally, I picked Gingerbread by Helen Oyeyemi, which also would count towards the different continent because this takes place in Britain. So those are kind of all the books in my kind of short stack of read outside books, I will keep you updated as to which one I end up reading. So those are all the individual books for each prompt, but now I'm going to kind of do a little stacked ranking so I can show you how I will complete all the prompts even if I don't read all 7 of these books. So the book that actually will complete the most prompts for me is Elle, Enchanted. It'll complete 4, the first of which is the birthstone on the cover 1, as there's a different cover of Elle, Enchanted, I'll put it up here, that has a lot more kind of purpley tones, so I'm kind of counting that for the purple. Obviously this works for a book that inspired a movie I've already seen. It is one that I'm probably planning on reading outside, especially because it's a children's book and it's about 200 pages. And then it's also set on a different continent, given that it's set in the fictional country of Elle, which feels very medieval European, so at the very least it's in Europe as opposed to America. So I'm also counting it for that one if need be. Next, we have The New Wilderness, which will fulfill 2 of the prompts, one of which being that it starts with the word the, and the other being that it is climate fiction, which is a genre that I've always wanted to read more of, but at the same time it usually is very depressing, so I don't reach for it all that often. And then finally, if I read Big Friendship, I will complete the first book I touched prompt, and that would be all 7 prompts. So those are the 3 books that I'm definitely prioritizing. But then in terms of the books that I'm next most hoping to get to, I would say it's Sleepovers, then A Burning, then Hood Feminism, and then all the kind of short stack of outside books. So those are probably the order in which I will read them, although I might kind of start some books early on in the reading rush and then continue to read them over the course of the week. So you can kind of expect that maybe the order that I read them and talk about them in my vlog. I'm super excited to be getting back to vlogging. I really enjoyed it when I was doing it kind of earlier in lockdown. And then for a while, I just kind of wasn't really in the best headspace for doing vlogging. So I'm hoping that the GRE will not ruin my vlog. We'll see. You know, the GRE is always fun. I have never liked standardized tests, but we're just going to vlog around the GRE and hope for the best in terms of the GRE and its determination for my future. So as always, let me know down in the comment section below if you are participating in the reading rush, if any of the books that I've talked about sound interesting or ones that you'd recommend or really not recommend, and if you found my channel through the reading rush or watching reading rush TBRs, please subscribe to my channel if any of the books that I talked about and the kind of variety of books that I talked about here in this video is something that appeals to you, as it kind of showcases pretty well the variety in which I read. So I think that's all for now. Have a great rest of your day, and I will talk to you next time.